Hey guys, it's Paul from Crowborough Guitar Tuition, and I'm back this week with another video lesson, and we're looking at All My Life by the Foo Fighters. Probably one of the songs that really introduced me to the Foo Fighters back in the early 2000s. Really kind of loved the song and got their album and just really enjoyed it, loved it. So it's what got me started. Lots of great stuff to play in here, lots of fun. Again, there's nothing particularly hard in here. There's a couple of maybe bits that could trip you up a little bit. If you're just starting out, but if you've been playing a while, you should be okay. So let's have a look at this. First section starts off Dave Grohl just by himself, and all it is a G5 power chord. So only played with two fingers. So first finger at the 3rd fret on the E string, and fifth finger. It's a bad day already. 3rd finger at the 5th fret on the A string. So you should have these two notes, and all he does is palm mute that chord. And that really runs for the whole of the intro section for quite a while. As you'll have seen from my own little intro, it does go on for a while. Before it breaks into the kind of main riff and chords, there's a harmonic just before that. And you know, you can find harmonics all over the neck, all different points on the strings. For me, the simplest place to go for that one in this song is just to rest my middle finger, which I'm not using for the chord, over the 4th frets, mainly on kind of the A and D strings, and hit that and just get a noise from it. Basically, you just want to get that nice harmonic sound. Now, the kind of chords, with the Foo Fighters, there's generally about 2 or 3 guitars playing. Obviously, when they're live, I think they've got 3 guitarists now, Chris Shiflett and Pat Smear and Dave Grohl himself. I think they only may have had 2 when they did this album. But obviously there's layers of stuff going on. So it's always tricky to say, how do you play a Foo Fighters song if you just want to play it by yourself on guitar? So I'm kind of amalgamating parts here to make them playable on one guitar. So if you're watching this going, no, that's not how they do it. So-and-so plays this and so-and-so plays that. You're probably right. I know you're right, actually. But here we're trying to bring them together. But what we've kind of got going on in the verses is this riff here. Okay, and all that's really happening there, we've got a G minor chord. So with its root at the 3rd fret there, so we've got 3rd fret on the E, 5th frets on the A and D, using fingers 3 and 4, and then we're using that 1st finger to bar across the rest at the 3rd fret. To be honest, though, we're only really playing the bottom 3 or 4 strings, and so we're not really playing the full chord. But it's quite nice to get that G string in there that gives the minor sound. And all we're doing really is we're being quite loose on our strumming. You don't need to be very precise. And then it slides up to do an A minor. So same position, but 2 frets up. And then the second time, it slides up 3 frets to a B flat minor. So you're keeping the same shape, but just moving it around. Now, in terms of the rhythm of that, like I say, you can be quite loose. There's kind of a muting thing going on between some of the strums, or coming off of the strings to an open. But it's not like a precise thing, really. So, you know, you can be quite loose with it. You can hear the bass particularly makes that more emphasized. The kind of much more clear on the bass than on the guitars, but you know, just have a play around with it and get the feel of it. It's all about the feel on songs like this. Now the verse, this is the only bit that might trip you up a bit. You're going to use the same shapes you've just been using: G minor, A minor shape, B flat minor shape. So you're going to want to make sure you've got those, at least these bottom 4 strings covered on that G minor there. And what you've got is this. and so on and so forth. Now it starts off the beat, so if you imagine you've got this kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So it catches you out if you're not quite ready for it. So you're doing a palm mute at the 3rd fret. So you've got this G minor shape going already. So you palm mute at that 3rd fret on the E string there. And then we're going to hit the D and G strings. So that should be fretted. If you've got the G minor shape going right, you should have the D string fretted at the 5th fret and the G string fretted at the 3rd fret. And this is the kind of rhythm. Okay. So the reason this might catch you out a little bit is it starts a little off the beat. You're having to jump a string to hit those bits there. And then you've got the quite quick bit back on the E string there. So if you're not used to kind of doing quick palm muted bits, you can get away, to be honest, you can get away with just doing, so just doing 2 palm mutes between them rather than 3, but I like the 3. Just gives you that sense of urgency a little bit more. So if you're not familiar with too much palm muting, just, you know, spend time working on it slowly. And what you can probably hear there, or hopefully you can hear, is that you palm mute the notes on the bottom string, but every time you do those stabs, you're going to lift off to let them ring out. Okay? And then, so that repeats twice. Slide up to the A minor. Second time you do exactly the same thing, but you go up to the B minor, B flat minor, sorry. Okay, do your best to keep the strings muted so they're not ringing out like I'm not doing there. But that'll take you through most of the verse there. The final time round, just before you hit the chorus, rather than going up to the B flat, you just stay on that G minor there. So you hit that extra bit at the end. Okay, and just there is a slight break before the chorus, so it's back into that initial. So you should have something that sounds a bit like this in your verse. So like I said, you can be quite loose with stuff in Foo Fighters songs. This is probably one of the parts of the song where you need to be a little bit more precise to get those palm mutes. So like I say, you might come undone slightly. In terms of the chorus itself, we've got an E flat over a G. There's my G at the bottom. So what you want to do for that is, again, there's probably multiple guitars going on here, so we're kind of amalgamating parts. We're going to do a C-shaped E flat. So our 4th finger is going to be on the 6th fret on the A string, so that's where our E flat is. We're going to put our 3rd finger at the 5th fret on the D. We're then going to have our 2nd finger at the 4th fret on the B, and then our 1st finger is going to bar across at the 3rd fret, covering all the way down to that low G. So we're going from that E flat over G to G minor, what we've already played. Then we can use an open C to a F bar chord, and then to a B flat bar chord. We can play with an A-shaped bar chord with its root on the 5th fret, down at the 1st fret here, root on the 5th fret, root on the 5th string. Just confusing everybody. B flat, fret number 1 on the 5th string. Okay, now you'll see on the tab, there's a little bit at the end, so you've got this kind of that kind of thing there. To be honest, it's very difficult to pick that out in the song. I wouldn't worry about it too much. If you just want to keep on that B flat, you can. Really, you've just got those chords. Again, be quite loose with the rhythm. Okay, and then you're back into the kind of and verse 2. Now you then get a section where the whole song breaks down again, and you're back to the, which goes on for a very long time. Now you can easily work out what that is. It's the same as at the beginning. It's a G5 power chord. If you want to add in some of the other guitar parts, you know, maybe if you have got another guitarist, you'll hear a guitar in the background going. So you've got this. So you can kind of get away with it on one guitar, but it's a bit trickier. What you've then got happening, I believe, when the kind of drums and everything kicks back in, or at least begins building up again during that section, you've got one guitar doing a G5 power chord kind of in an open shape. And you've got another guitar bending on the G string at the 5th fret up to the 7th fret. This kind of gradual bend through the whole bar. Now, to be honest though, what I quite like to do is kind of combine that G5 and the bend. So all I do is I do the bend, but I do it as a kind of unison bend. So I've got my 3rd finger up at the 5th fret on the G string here, and then I'm using got my 2nd finger behind it to kind of give it some strength to push it, and I've got my 1st finger barring the 3rd frets on the B and G strings. So I've got, so that's before I do the bend. So I'm including those notes there at 3rd fret, which are part of that G5 power chord, but I'm also getting to do the bend. So I'm kind of combining 2 parts into one. And so I can kind of basically play that bend, push the unison bend up, strum across all 3 strings, and kind of emulate the sound. So you want to gradually bend it up, don't just go. You want to, and you'll hear it reach the pitch. So as you bend, that note up at the 5th fret, you should eventually meet the same note that's on the 3rd fret on the B string. Okay? So you can do that if you want to do. Then you kind of got this section with a, again, just G5 power chord all the way. And I think that pretty much takes you through the song. Listen out, there's a couple of places where they use the harmonics again. Just hit that 4th fret, that's nice. I don't think there's any actually any other parts to the song. You're just back into a chorus and home and dry all the way, to be honest, with what we've done. So, I mean, it's a great song, loads of fun to play. I love, you know, in preparation for this, I had the had it playing on the computer and I was playing along, and I just had a great fun doing it. So I hope you have great fun doing it. Let me know other songs you'd love to do, and please check in on those videos. Thanks very much. Bye. Hi guys, thanks for watching. For more guitar tips and video lessons, click on the subscribe button down below, and let me know in the comments what songs or video lessons you'd like to see. If you want to keep up with some of our news, you can like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter, or you can always check out our website, crowboroughguitartuition.com.